The rain was heavy that night, falling in thick sheets over the quiet streets of Maryland. Streetlights flickered in the mist, painting long shadows across the wet road. A black sedan rolled slowly through the rain. Inside sat Maya Carter, a calm-faced woman in her early 30s. She looked like any ordinary driver coming home late from work, but nothing about this night was ordinary. Maya's eyes kept scanning the rearview mirror. A black SUV had been following her for the past 10 minutes. Her grip on the steering wheel tightened. She knew how to stay calm under pressure, but this felt different. Her instincts, sharp and trained, whispered that this wasn't random. When blue and red lights suddenly flashed behind her, Maya took a deep breath. The voice from the loudspeaker came next. "Ma'am! Pull over the vehicle. Hands where we can see 'em." Maya sighed softly. She had hoped it wouldn't come to this. She slowed down and stopped near the sidewalk. Within seconds, 3 police cars surrounded her sedan. The rain splashed against their uniforms as the officers shouted again. "Step out of the car! Now!" Maya raised her hands slowly, her heart calm but her mind alert. She could feel eyes on her from every direction. Guns were drawn. Flashlights blinded her vision. "Put your hands where I can see them," one officer yelled. "I'm not resisting," Maya said quietly. Her voice was steady, too steady for someone being arrested. "Step away from the car," another shouted, louder this time. Maya obeyed. She stepped out, her dark coat drenched instantly by the rain. The officers rushed forward, shouting over each other. One of them, a young cop named Officer Daniels, grabbed her by the arm. "What's in the car, ma'am? You got drugs? Weapons?" "No," Maya replied. "But you might want to be careful before you make a mistake." Daniels frowned. "A mistake?" She looked him straight in the eye. For the first time, a trace of authority flashed in her calm gaze. "I'm not who you think I am," she said quietly. Daniels laughed nervously. "Yeah? Then who are you?" Maya reached into her coat pocket, slowly, carefully, as the other officers shouted warnings. "Don't move! Hands up! Drop it!" But she didn't flinch. She pulled out a small black wallet, flipped it open, and raised it high so everyone could see. The rain glistened off the metal badge. CIA. The silence that followed was deafening. The officers froze. Daniels blinked, stepping back slightly. "Wait, you're..." "Yes," Maya said. "I'm Agent Maya Carter, CIA Counterintelligence Division. And if you don't lower those weapons, you're about to interfere with a federal operation." For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the rain. Then, slowly, one by one, the officers began lowering their guns. Confusion and fear filled the air. Maya looked past them, toward the dark SUV still parked at the corner. She knew whoever was inside wasn't done yet. This was only the beginning. As the police tried to recover from their mistake, Maya whispered to herself. "They found me faster than I thought." The SUV's headlights blinked twice, and then it started to move again, slowly disappearing into the night. Something bigger was unfolding, and Maya knew she had only a few hours before everything exploded. The flashing lights faded behind her as Maya drove away from the police scene. Her car moved quietly through the rain-soaked streets. Her mind, however, was a storm of thoughts. The local cops weren't the real danger, they were just a distraction. The real threat was the black SUV that had followed her earlier. She had seen those headlights before. They belonged to the Orion Division, a rogue unit once part of the CIA, now working for whoever paid the most. Maya had exposed one of their secret operations months ago, an operation that could have cost thousands of innocent lives. Since then, she had been living in the shadows, hiding her tracks, changing names, and trusting no one. As she reached an old gas station on the highway, she pulled over. She needed to think, plan her next move. Her phone buzzed, a private encrypted line. The name flashing on the screen made her heart tighten. Director Shaw. She hesitated, then answered. Sir? Maya, the voice came through, rough and serious. We picked up chatter. Someone's tracking your location. You've been compromised. I noticed, she said quietly, watching the rain slide down her windshield. They sent the cops after me to slow me down. Shaw's voice grew sharper. You have something they want. The drive from the Brussels mission. Do you still have it? Maya reached into her jacket pocket and touched the small metal device hidden inside. It was no bigger than a car key, but what it contained could destroy careers, governments, and powerful people. I still have it, she said. Then listen carefully, Shaw continued. Get to the safe house in Arlington. You'll be met there by. The line went dead. Maya froze. Static filled her earpiece, then silence. She tried calling back, but there was no signal. Her stomach sank, someone had jammed her connection. Just then, she noticed a faint reflection in the side mirror. Headlights. 2 cars approaching from behind. She started the engine and pulled onto the road again, keeping her speed steady. Her eyes flicked between the mirrors. The cars behind her kept pace. One moved to the left, the other to the right, flanking her. They're not cops, she muttered. Her training kicked in. She turned off the main road and sped down a narrow forest path. Mud splashed up the sides of her car as trees closed in around her. The headlights followed, closer now, faster. The first bullet hit her rearview mirror. Maya ducked instinctively, swerving to the right. More shots followed, sparks lighting up the night. She pressed the gas pedal hard. The tires screamed against the wet road. She knew she couldn't outrun them forever. She needed to disappear. Up ahead, through the rain, she spotted an old bridge, broken and half-collapsed over a river. She smiled faintly. Perfect. As she neared the bridge, she slammed on the brakes, skidding sideways. The car spun once, then stopped inches from the edge. She jumped out, clutching the small metal drive, and ran into the darkness. The sound of car doors slamming echoed behind her. Men shouting. Flashlights cutting through the rain. Maya Carter! You can't hide! She didn't answer. She moved quietly through the trees, soaked, cold, and breathless. Her body ached, but she couldn't stop. She finally reached a clearing and collapsed behind a fallen tree. Her pulse was racing. She took a deep breath and looked at the small device in her hand. This can't fall into the wrong hands, she whispered. Suddenly, a voice came from the darkness, calm, familiar. You should have destroyed it when you had the chance. Maya turned her head slowly. A man stepped out from the shadows, holding a gun, someone she knew very well. It was Agent Cole, her former partner. The look in his eyes told her everything. He wasn't there to help. Rainwater dripped from Maya's hair as she stared at the man standing in front of her. Agent Cole. Once her closest ally. Once the only person she trusted with her life. Now he was pointing a gun at her. Cole, she said slowly, her voice trembling between disbelief and anger. What are you doing here? He didn't answer right away. His face looked hard, older than she remembered. His eyes carried guilt and something else. Fear. Maya, he said softly. You shouldn't have come back. You should have stayed hidden. You were supposed to be dead, she replied, still watching his hands carefully. They said you didn't survive the Brussels operation. Cole gave a short, bitter laugh. That's what they wanted you to believe. The forest around them was silent except for the rain. Maya's pulse was racing, but her training kept her calm. Every move mattered now. You're working with them, she said. Aren't you? Cole's jaw tightened. I'm trying to survive. You joined Orion, Maya whispered, realization hitting her like a knife. You sold out the agency. He didn't deny it. He just sighed, lowering his gun slightly but not enough to be safe. They came to me after Brussels. They offered me something the CIA never did, freedom. No more orders. No more lies. Just a chance to live. And what did it cost you, Cole? Maya asked coldly. Your soul? Cole's eyes flickered with pain. Don't make this harder than it has to be, Maya. Just give me the drive. She shook her head. You know what's inside. You know what Orion did. You saw it too. I did, he said quietly. And that's why I can't let it get out. He stepped closer. The gun was steady again. Hand it over. Maya took a small step back. Her boot sank slightly in the mud. Behind her was the drop to the river, fast, deep, and dangerous. If you were really my friend, she said, her voice breaking just a little, you'd help me end this. Cole's eyes softened for a brief second, a flash of the man she once knew. You think I don't want to? You think this is easy for me? Then don't do it, she pleaded. But his grip on the gun tightened. You don't understand, Maya. They have my family. Her breath caught. For the first time, she saw the truth, the fear that controlled him. Orion wasn't just paying him, they were holding him hostage in a different way. They'll kill them if I don't bring that drive in, he said. Please, just give it to me. Maya looked at the drive in her hand, the small, cold object that had destroyed so many lives already. She felt tears mix with the rain on her cheeks. I can't, she whispered. Cole's face fell. Then you leave me no choice. The click of the gun echoed through the night. Before he could fire, Maya threw the drive into the river behind her. It vanished into the dark water. Cole shouted, rushing forward, but Maya moved faster. She struck his arm, and the gun went flying into the mud. They struggled, two trained agents fighting in the storm, every move filled with desperation. Cole pinned her down, but Maya hit back, landing a blow that knocked him to the ground. Both were gasping for air. Cole's voice came weakly through the rain. You've just doomed us all. Maya stood over him, breathing hard. No, she said. I just stopped them. She turned away and disappeared into the trees. Behind her, Cole lay on the ground, coughing, his eyes filled with regret. He pulled out a small device from his pocket, a tracker. Even though the drive was lost in the river, Orion would find her again. And next time, they wouldn't send one man. They would send an army. The night sky slowly turned gray as dawn broke over the forest. The rain had stopped, but the ground was still wet, and every step Maya took left a trail behind her. She moved quickly, keeping her head low and eyes alert. Her clothes were soaked, her hands shaking from exhaustion, but she didn't stop. She knew the moment she threw that drive into the river, Orion wouldn't rest until they found her. Maya needed to disappear again. After an hour of walking through the woods, she reached an empty road. A worn-out pickup truck rumbled by, driven by an old man carrying crates of fruit. Maya stepped out, waving her arms. The man slowed down, suspicious. You okay, ma'am? He asked through the open window. Car broke down, Maya said with a tired smile. I just need a ride to town. The man hesitated, then nodded. Hop in. Closest town's 30 miles out. Maya climbed in, sitting quietly as the truck moved down the long, empty road. She could feel the man's eyes glancing at her once or twice, but she stayed silent. Her mind was somewhere else, replaying every word Cole said. They have my family. She couldn't shake it off. Cole wasn't just a traitor, he was trapped. And she couldn't ignore that. When they reached a small gas station at the edge of town, Maya thanked the man and stepped out. She needed to find a way to contact Director Shaw again. Maybe he was still alive. Maybe he had backup waiting. Inside the gas station, she bought a cheap burner phone and a cup of black coffee. The clerk, a young woman, gave her a polite smile. "You look like you've had a rough night." "You could say that," Maya said softly. She stepped outside and turned on the phone. For a moment, there was nothing, no signal, no sound. Then the screen flickered, and a single message appeared. "We know where you are." Her heart skipped. The message vanished almost instantly. She looked around. The street was quiet, but something felt wrong. A black van was parked across the road. Tinted windows. No license plate. Her instincts screamed run. Maya dropped the coffee, dashed behind the station, and sprinted toward the alley. She could hear the van doors slam open, heavy boots hitting the ground. 3 men followed, dressed in black tactical gear. Orion agents. "Target moving south," one shouted into his comm. Maya ran faster, weaving between buildings. She jumped over a fence, cut through a yard, and burst onto another street. Cars honked as she crossed without looking. Her breath came in sharp bursts, her heart pounding. She turned a corner and froze. Another van blocked the road ahead. Maya looked around, no escape. She was trapped. The first group caught up behind her. One of the men aimed a tranquilizer gun. "Don't make this harder, Agent Carter. Orders are to take you alive." Maya raised her hands slowly, pretending to surrender. Her eyes scanned the street. A motorcycle was parked nearby, keys still in the ignition. "Fine," she said calmly. "You win." The man smirked, stepping closer. "Good choice." That's when she moved. In one motion, she kicked the gun out of his hand, spun around, and grabbed the motorcycle. The engine roared to life. She sped away just as bullets tore through the air behind her. The wind hit her face, mixing with adrenaline. The city blurred around her. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to keep moving. As she reached the highway, her phone buzzed again. A new message appeared. "If you want the truth about Cole, come to Arlington. Warehouse 12. Tonight." Maya tightened her grip on the handlebars. Arlington. The place Director Shaw mentioned before the line went dead. Someone out there still wanted to help her. Or maybe, it was another trap. Either way, she had no choice. She sped up, whispering to herself, "Let's finish this." Behind her, the Orion vans regrouped. The hunt wasn't over. It was just beginning. Night returned to the city, and the cold wind carried the scent of rain once again. Maya's motorcycle rolled quietly to a stop near an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Arlington. The building looked forgotten, broken windows, rusted doors, no lights except one flickering bulb over the entrance. She removed her helmet and took a slow breath. Her heart was steady now, but her mind wasn't. Whoever sent that message knew too much, about Cole, about the drive, about her. This could be a trap, she whispered to herself. But she still stepped forward. Inside, the warehouse was dark and silent. The air smelled of dust and oil. Water dripped from the ceiling, echoing faintly through the hall. "Agent Carter," a voice called softly. Maya froze. She recognized that voice, Director Shaw. She turned quickly, and there he was, older, tired, but alive. He stood near a table lit by a single hanging bulb. On the table lay a pile of files, a laptop, and a black case. "You're alive," Maya breathed. "Barely," Shaw said with a faint smile. "I had to disappear. Orion has eyes everywhere." Maya stepped closer. "I got your message." "What's going on, Director? Why are they after me? What's on that drive?" Shaw sighed deeply, rubbing his forehead. You already know part of it. But the truth is worse than you think. He opened the black case and pulled out a hard drive identical to the one Maya had thrown into the river. She stared in shock. How? I made a backup, Shaw said. Before the Brussels mission went south. Maya's voice was low and tense. So all this, everything, was to stop this data from getting out? Yes, Shaw said. That drive contains evidence that high-ranking officials inside the CIA sold intelligence to Orion. They didn't just betray the agency, they sold out agents like you, like Cole. Maya's stomach turned. Cole was one of their victims. Shaw nodded sadly. They threatened his family to make him obey. When he refused, they faked his death and turned him into a pawn. Maya felt a lump in her throat. He said they had his family. I thought he was lying. No, Shaw said quietly. He was telling the truth. Orion took them, to make sure he delivered you. Maya's anger burned through her confusion. Then we can still save them. If we expose this data. Shaw cut her off sharply. We can't. Not yet. If this gets out the wrong way, it will start a war between agencies. The public won't know who to trust. So what do we do? Maya demanded. Before Shaw could answer, the sound of tires screeching outside echoed through the warehouse. Bright headlights filled the broken windows. Maya reached for her gun instantly. They found us. Shaw grabbed the drive and stuffed it into his jacket. We're out of time. There's a tunnel behind the crates, it leads to the train yard. Go! But before they could move, the metal doors burst open. Armed men in black stormed inside, Orion soldiers. The sound of boots and gunfire filled the air. Maya fired back, taking cover behind a steel pillar. Shaw ducked low, trying to reach the exit, but bullets rained from every side. Go, Maya, he shouted. I'm not leaving you, she yelled back. Shaw turned toward her, his face pale. You have to. If they get this drive, it's over. A shot rang out, sharp, loud, final. Maya's world froze. Shaw fell to the ground, blood spreading across his shirt. The drive rolled from his hand, sliding across the floor toward her. No, she screamed. She crawled forward under fire, grabbed the drive, and looked up, her eyes filled with rage. At the door stood Cole, gun in hand, his expression torn between duty and guilt. Maya, he said quietly. Please, don't make me do this. Her voice was cold. You already did. Then she turned and ran through the tunnel as gunfire exploded behind her. Maya disappeared into the darkness with the drive clutched tight in her hand. Behind her, the warehouse burned, and Cole watched the flames rise, his face shadowed by guilt and regret. He whispered to himself, Forgive me, Maya, it's the only way to save them. The city lights flickered in the distance as Maya ran through the dark tunnels beneath Arlington. Her breath came fast, her hands clutching the drive tightly. Behind her, the echo of gunfire faded until only silence remained. She had lost Director Shaw. She had lost almost everything. But she wasn't done. Not yet. When she finally emerged from the tunnels, dawn was breaking. The streets were quiet, washed pale by the rising sun. She found an old train yard nearby and hid inside an abandoned maintenance car. The air smelled of metal and dust. Maya sat on the floor, shaking. Her reflection in the cracked window showed a woman she barely recognized, exhausted, bruised, but still alive. She took out the drive and stared at it. This little thing cost so many lives, she whispered. And still, it's the only truth left. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Maya, a familiar voice said, low, filled with pain. It was Cole. She said nothing. I didn't want this, he continued. Shaw didn't have to die. They gave the order, not me. Stop, she said coldly. You made your choice the moment you aimed that gun. I had no choice. Cole shouted. His voice broke. They still have my wife and my son. If I don't bring them the drive by noon, they're dead. Maya's heart twisted. She could hear the fear in his voice. The same man who once saved her life on missions now sounded broken. Where are you? She asked quietly. Pier 9, he said. I'll be there. Alone. Just me. The line went dead. Maya sat there for a long moment, staring at the phone. She knew this could be a trap. But she also knew Cole wasn't lying about his family. And no matter what happened between them, she couldn't let innocent people die. She slipped the drive into her pocket and walked out of the train yard, the morning light falling across her face. By noon, the sky was bright but heavy with tension. The pier was empty except for the sound of waves hitting the wooden posts. Cole stood at the edge, holding his gun loosely by his side. Maya approached slowly. You came, he said. I had to, she replied. We can still fix this, Cole. Together. He shook his head. There's no fixing what I've done. They have your family, she said. Then let's save them first. Give me the location. I'll go with you. Cole looked down, torn. It's too late. Orion doesn't make deals. They made sure of that. Maya stepped closer. You still have a choice. Hand them the drive, they'll kill your family anyway, and you'll just be another name on their list. Cole looked up, eyes wet. And if I don't? Then we fight back, she said firmly. For them. For Shaw. For everyone they used. For a long moment, neither spoke. The wind whipped through the air, carrying the cries of distant seagulls. Then, slowly, Cole lowered his gun. You always believed in something bigger, he whispered. That's what made you dangerous. Before Maya could answer, a black helicopter appeared over the horizon. Orion had found them. Cole turned, panic flashing across his face. They're here. Go! No, Maya said. We end this now. The helicopter descended fast. Armed men jumped out, surrounding them. Maya and Cole stood back to back, guns raised. Ready? She asked. Always, he said. The fight was quick and brutal, 2 trained agents against an army. They moved like shadows, covering each other, silent but deadly. When the smoke cleared, only a few Orion men remained conscious. The rest fled to the helicopter, which lifted off and vanished into the clouds. Maya dropped to her knees, exhausted. Cole stood beside her, bleeding from a wound in his side. It's over, she said softly. He smiled faintly. Not yet. Take the drive, Maya. Finish what we started. She shook her head. You're coming with me. He looked at her, the same calm, brave look he'd always had, and whispered, Thank you, for still believing in me. Before she could stop him, Cole pressed something into her hand, a small flash drive. Back up, he said weakly. Then he fell. Maya caught him, tears mixing with the sea air. He was gone. She held the drive close to her chest, whispering, I'll make sure they know the truth. Weeks later, a leak hit the global news. Files from Orion and corrupt officials exposed everything, names, operations, crimes. The world was shocked. The CIA denied involvement, but quiet whispers said one rogue agent made it happen. Some called her a criminal. Others called her a hero. Her name vanished from every record, but somewhere, far from Washington, a woman named Maya Carter started a new life under the radar, watching from the shadows. And every night, she still heard the echo of her partner's last words. Thank you for believing.